Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. I've been tagged a couple times with this subject in mind, so I'm gonna do the video. I've been tagged by Clifford the Vinyl Cheapskate and MiddleLifeCrisisRants. What they want you to do is show like 10, current hardcore punk labels and examples of releases that each of those labels has done. Easy stuff. So yeah, I'll do 10 labels and 2 releases by each. So we'll start out with a long-running label. They've been around forever. 625 Thrashcore. It's run by Max Ward, who was in Spaz and Plutocracy and Capitalist Casualties. Generally runs the gamut on just fast music in general. There's a lot of like fastcore, some grindcore, a little bit of death metal now and again. But yeah, he's been around for years. One of my old bands was on a compilation he did. I've met him a few times. Probably a nice guy. So 2 examples of releases on 625 Thrashcore. One would be Scholastic Deth, Bookstore Core, 2000 to 2002. Discography of a band that Max was actually in. It's also, I believe, had the drummer from the End of the Century Party in it, who was a great band from way back when, from Florida. So yeah, Scholastic Deth, Bookstore Core. And the second of the 625 releases, Jellyroll Rockheads, Wake Up Music, complete discography. Insane Japanese hardcore band. High-pitched vocals, not even blast beats, really. They just sound like super fast fills. I don't know. Pretty unique sounding band. Pretty interesting. So yeah, Jellyroll Rockheads. Next up, from Hamilton, Ontario, a label run by a longtime friend of mine. Great dude. A guy named Craig. It's Schizophrenic Records. Does a lot of, like, he's totally supportive of his hometown scene. He releases records by a lot of Hamilton, Ontario bands. He also does a lot of like archival recordings. Like he's done, like the Direct Action demo. He's done stuff by the Freeze, like reissued a lot of the Freeze catalog, the Freeze from Boston or Cape Cod. Yeah, he's he's in touch with what's going on, and he's a great dude. But here's the TV Freaks, the first record, the self-titled one. It actually looks like this, but Craig always makes these extra covers. He'll do like a limited to 100 version, as this is number 69 out of 100. Kind of a nice touch. And the second of the Schizophrenic Records releases is the Chronic Submission, Empty Heads, Poison Darts. This is a band from the 80s from Toronto. Awesome hardcore band with a kind of a crazy reputation. And of course it has the limited cover as well, which is number 52 out of 100. So yeah, good stuff. Third label from London, England. A label called No Front Teeth Records. It's run by a guy named Marco. Don't know him real well. Talk to him on Instagram once in a while. Super nice guy. I know he was just here in Ontario. He was in Toronto, and he went and checked out Niagara Falls and all that stuff. It's on his Instagram, but super nice guy. Generally, like they'll do some kind of like rough, kind of raw hardcore, but a lot of the stuff he covers is like just weirdo synth punk and shit like that. Like he's in some bands, he's in like Miscalculations and a bunch of other bands that are kind of weirdo synth stuff. So 2 examples of his releases are The Caged Animal. It's called Hiding My Face in Plain View. It's kind of a synth punk thing. It's really good. And the second of those releases on No Front Teeth is, this band's awesome. They're from like Oakland, California. They're called Deseos Primitivos. And it's the self-titled LP. Yeah, this is really, really good. Get it if you can. But yeah, No Front Teeth Records. Next up, we're going to Lengua Armada, which is run by Martin, who was in Los Crudos, Limp, Needles. I believe he was in NN. Great label. Kind of an occasional label. He doesn't like constantly put records out, but he periodically does, and when he does, it's always really good. He does he does stuff for his own bands and you know some faster hardcore bands as well. But he also does a lot of reissues and archival releases of a lot of like old South American bands and just interesting stuff that you never really heard of before. So like I said, he releases stuff by his own bands. Here's the Facades record by Limp. And here's one of his kind of reissue archival things. It's originally a cassette. It's a band from Peru called G3. It's called Un Nuevo Enemigo. I believe it was released in 85 or 87. But yeah, like I said, from Peru. Good, raw, just old South American hardcore. A little bit of melody to it. Good stuff. Next, we're going to go to a label from Lakewood, Ohio, called Kon Crasher. Releases raw hardcore. Like, you know, it can't get noisy enough for that guy. I don't know the guy personally, but I'm a fan of what he releases. Here's the Eel Endless Fucker 12-inch. It's a band from Pittsburgh. And, you know, staying with the tradition of Kon Crasher, raw, crusty punk rock. Good shit. And the second release on his label is a split between Absolut and Svaveldioxid. Absolut from Toronto, Svaveldioxid from Sweden. Both super raw, bordering D-beat, but more just super raw Swedish hardcore styles. Good shit. This is a 12-inch and a flexi in a snappy gatefold sleeve. So yeah, Kon Crasher. Next up, label from Burbank, California, like LA, basically. It's run by Bob Cassetts, who was the drummer in like Infest and To the Point, Burn Your Bridges. He's been in a bunch of stuff. He actually released a record for one of my old bands. It was a split with Haymaker. But yeah, Deep Six, you almost can't go wrong with that ever. Here's the Extortion Degenerate LP. Crazy fast hardcore band from Australia. Shout out to Rowan if you're watching this. Good dude, he's in this band. And here's a kind of a reissue. It's a discography of Neanderthal. It's a history of violence. Neanderthal, of course, kind of the precursor to Man is the Bastard. Just weird, crazy original for the time especially. Often copied, never duplicated. Blah, blah, blah. Neanderthal. History of violence. Deep Six Records. Now we're going to go to a label run by another friend of mine, a label from here, London, Ontario. It's a label called It's Trash. It's run by my friend Jesse. Does a lot of garage punk, some kind of synthy stuff. Puts releases out for his own band as well. He plays in a band called Klazo. It's a two-piece with Rob Brake, who's also in Mono Negatives and a bunch of shit. But here's the first Klazo record, Embarrassed of Living. And another release by him, we'll go with a 7-inch. It's the self-titled by Silicon Heartbeat. It's a band from Kalamazoo, Michigan. This synth punk stuff, kind of along the lines of the Spits, maybe a little more sinister sounding. Really good. I had never heard of him before he released it, and I was pleasantly surprised. But yeah, Jesse puts out kick-ass stuff. He also does that, I don't know if he's doing any more, but the Killed by Meth series of compilations. But he works hard at what he does. Great guy. So yeah, It's Trash Records. Who's next? Suicide Records. run by my good friend Dave Brown out in Halifax, Nova Scotia, on Canada's east coast. Mostly releases 7 inches and cassettes. Always good fast hardcore, and he releases mostly records for bands from his general vicinity. Not a loser in the bunch. So do one of his cassettes here that I really liked. So the Cell Death demo, went and saw them earlier this year. Fantastic. From Prince Edward Island, just a tiny little province, but a really good band. And the Mutated Void / The Altar 7-inch, a band from Halifax. It's got Cody in it from Bougie Boys and a million other bands, and another guy that I do not know. But yeah, Mutated Void, fantastic. The 12-inch is really good as well. Next up, Deseos Primitivos from Barcelona. Awesome punk rock label. Everything I've heard on that label is great. Don't personally know the guy or the person who runs the label, but can't win them all. Here's the Hez 12-inch. Awesome stuff from, where the fuck are they from? Panama. Yeah, they're from Panama. Good raw, modern hardcore punk. Good stuff. And the other record by Deseos Primitivos is the self-titled Lux record. A band from Barcelona. Saw them last year, maybe? Yeah, they were awesome live. Loved it. But yeah, I'll buy everything this band releases because they're that good. So yeah, Lux on Deseos Primitivos. And the last label is one from somewhere in Maryland, which is the general vicinity of Clifford the Vinyl Cheapskate, as a matter of coincidence. A label called Pop Wig. Haven't heard a whole lot of things that have come out on this label. I don't think they have a real big discography. I could be wrong, but everything I've heard's been top notch. Like the Bib Delux record, band from Nebraska, fairly popular in the DIY hardcore scene, very well respected. People love this band, and I do too. So yeah, Bib Deluxe. And the last one is a band from Denton, Texas, that more people should really pay attention to, because they're awesome. It's Razorbumps. It's the Hellrazors 12-inch. Like I said, Denton, Texas. They sound they kind of remind me of what you get if you cross like something like the Coneheads and the Wax Museums, maybe. They're kind of that weird, like helium vocal kind of punk stuff, but there's kind of a predominant, like, kind of a garage element to it. Really good band. I'm surprised more people don't talk about them, because this is a really good record on Popwig. So pick it up if you see it. I'm sure it's not expensive. So anyways, yeah, that's what I got. There's 10 labels, 2 releases by each of those labels. Thanks to Clifford, and thanks to Joey Kim for tagging me, and I'm out of here later. Oh, speaking of Joey Kim, I will have a contest entry for him up probably tomorrow. Later.